I forgave the person who done my brother. I know this is hard to imagine or believe, but I truly want you to know that I'm not crazy. In fact, it's quite the opposite. My brother was my best friend. We grew up together doing everything side by side. We had this close bond that you couldn't quite explain. Fast forward to our college years where we went to the same university. He was a sophomore and I was a junior, and we lived about 10 minutes apart. One Friday night, we were drinking at this bar we always liked to go to because he was able to get in. We were winding down our night as it was getting late. Since the bar was really close to our places, we normally just walked back. About 5 minutes into our routine walk, we usually split off in opposite directions to get to our respective places. This time, I was a little more concerned for his well-being because he was extremely intoxicated. When we reached the split-off point, I offered to walk him back to make sure he made it safely, but he seemed to instantly sober up or at least act like it and said, No, I'm fine, don't worry about me. It's just a 5-minute walk back to mine. We joked a little bit, and I decided that everything would be fine, till we split off like normal. An hour later, I was woken up by a knock at my door. At first, I was terrified because who knocks on a door at around 3 a.m.? I made my way to the door to find 2 police officers. I opened it, and they asked if I knew my brother's name. I said yes, and what they told me next put me into shock. Your brother has been injured tonight, sir, and we don't know how to tell you this, but he didn't make it. I felt like I wanted to immediately slam the door on them and run upstairs, almost as a way to cope and say to myself, this isn't happening. But I didn't. I actually just ended up standing there, saying nothing for the next 20 to 30 seconds. He didn't wait for a reply, but continued saying, We know you probably need some time to take this all in, but whenever you're ready, we're going to need a statement from you. I told them I understood, and that I would give them a call when I was ready. I'll skip the boring stuff, but here's what happened. My brother, although he acted sober at the end of our walk together, clearly be seen on multiple doorbell cameras walking down the street near his house, tripping over stuff and barely able to walk. Instead of going to the house on the right side of the street, which was his, he made the grave mistake of walking to the other house on the other side. We had no previous interactions with the people who lived there, and I made sure to clear that up with the cops so they wouldn't think it was premeditated. Based on that, they determined what happened next was all an incident. Walked into the house as the door was, for some reason, unlocked. The owner was in his bedroom at the time when he heard a loud slamming noise, presumably the door opening. He got his weapon immediately and shouted that whoever was in the house needed to leave now, and that he was armed. My brother, who was obviously intoxicated, either didn't hear or comprehend what this guy was saying and just kept walking farther into the house. This is where I'll skip the dark details, but you probably get what happens next. I struggled with this for months and months after it happened, maybe even longer. I cried myself to sleep sometime, knowing that he wouldn't be there to text in the morning like we normally did. Little things you take for granted. His passing made me realize all the little niche things he used to do. After some time, one of my professors, who was very close with me, could tell that I was still going through a tough time. He suggested that I come with him to his church service the next Sunday. I don't know what made me say yes, but I did, and it changed my life for the better. For the next month or two, I learned about the Bible and its teachings, but most importantly, about compassion and loving your own enemy. I struggled with the idea, but I knew that it might be for the best. With my newfound purpose in life, I felt more ready than ever to take that step. The hearing for the person responsible for my brother's passing was coming up, and when it finally came and family testimony started, I was the first in the chair. In that chair, I read a very heartfelt message to the person responsible. I couldn't help but notice the tears rolling down his face as I read it. Last words in that long letter read, I forgive you and wish the best for you in all your years left on this beautiful world we all get to call home.